She sobbed, "I made one mistake, but everything came from love," while I stared at her phone recording our entire breakup conversation. She had been stalking my gym, my work, my family. What I found out about her last 3 boyfriends changed how I see love forever. Okay, I am still shaking as I type this. I don't even know how to start, but I need to get this out because it is eating me alive and I cannot sleep, cannot eat, cannot think straight. I am Ethan 24M and my now ex Rachel 23F. Just God. I cannot believe I am saying ex. 3 days ago she was the love of my life. Now I cannot even look at her pictures without feeling sick to my stomach. Let me back up and paint you the full picture of what we had. Because what she destroyed wasn't just any relationship, it was everything. We met junior year at State during one of those terrible group projects where everyone hates each other by week 2. Except Rachel and me. She had this way of making even the most boring marketing assignment feel like an adventure. She would bring coffee for the whole group, crack jokes when tensions got high, and somehow always knew exactly what to say to keep everyone motivated. I was hooked from day one, but I played it cool. You know how it is, you don't want to be that guy who falls for his project partner? But after we turned in our presentation, aced it. Obviously, she asked if I wanted to get pizza and celebrate. We talked until 3 a.m. that night about everything, our families, our dreams, stupid childhood stories, what we wanted to do after graduation. That pizza night turned into study sessions that lasted until dawn, then weekend trips to her hometown, then bringing her home for Thanksgiving, where my parents fell in love with her almost as fast as I did. Mom still asks about her every time we talk, which makes this whole thing even more painful. Rachel wasn't just my girlfriend, she was my person. You know that feeling when someone just gets you, when you can be completely yourself around them and they love you not despite your weirdness but because of it. When you find someone who laughs at your terrible jokes and listens to your random 2 a.m. thoughts about life. That was Rachel and me. We did everything together. She would quiz me for my accounting exams while I made us grilled cheese at midnight. I would drive her to her internship interviews and wait in the car with good luck snacks. We had this whole routine where we would explore random small towns on Sundays, just pick a direction, and drive until we found somewhere interesting. She collected vintage postcards from every tiny diner we stopped at. I brought her to every family gathering. Christmas morning opening presents with my parents and brother Jake. 4th of July barbecues where she would help Mom in the kitchen and somehow always knew exactly how everyone liked their burgers cooked. Jake used to joke that she was already more family than girlfriend, always asking when I was going to propose. Soon, I would tell him, because I was planning to. We talked about getting an apartment together after graduation. She had this Pinterest board of wedding venues just for fun. I had been looking at rings. Here is the thing though, when I was 19, during my sophomore year, something really dark happened to me. I don't want to get too specific because it is still hard to talk about, but let's just say I experienced something traumatic that left me with panic attacks and depression that I have been quietly managing ever since. It is not something I talk about, ever. My parents don't know. They think my rough patch junior year was just typical college stress. My brother doesn't know. My best friends don't know. Hell, I barely even let myself think about it most days. It is just mine to carry. My therapist says that is normal, that some things we need to process privately before we can share them, if we ever choose to share them at all. But Rachel knew everything. I told her about 6 months into dating, during one of those 3 a.m. vulnerable conversations that happen when you are falling hard for someone. We were lying in her dorm room bed after a party, and I was having one of those nights where the anxiety was creeping back in. She could tell something was off. "Ethan, what is wrong? You have been quiet all night." I would never told anyone the full story before, but something about the way she was looking at me, so concerned and gentle, I just broke. I told her everything, every detail, every fear, every sleepless night, every panic attack I had hidden from everyone. She held me while I cried. She didn't try to fix it or give advice or tell me everything would be okay. She just listened and stroked my hair and told me she was honored that I trusted her with something so personal. "This doesn't change how I see you," she whispered. "It just helps me understand why you are so strong." That night, I fell in love with her completely, not just attracted to her or infatuated, deeply soul level in love, because she saw me at my most broken and didn't flinch. She saw my damage and called it strength. This stays between us, I told her. I am not ready for anyone else to know. Of course, she said. It is your story to tell when you are ready. If you are ever ready, that was 2 years ago. 2 years of her keeping my secret. 2 years of me feeling like I finally had someone who truly knew me and loved me anyway. Until last month, when everything exploded. I had been going through a rough patchwork stress from my new job, some family drama with my parents arguing about money, and honestly just one of those periods where the old anxiety was creeping back in. Nothing major, just needed more quiet time, more space to decompress. You know how it goes in long relationships, sometimes you are up, sometimes you are down, but you work through it together. Rachel had been amazing about it. Like always, bringing me dinner when I worked late, giving me space when I needed it, checking in without being clingy. I thought we were handling it well. Then last Tuesday night, she came over with takeout from our favorite Thai place. I was feeling better, more like myself. We were laughing about some ridiculous customer complaint I would dealt with at work. Normal evening. Normal US. Then, out of nowhere, she got this serious look on her face. Ethan, I need to tell you something. My stomach dropped, the way she said it. I knew it was bad. I told your parents about what happened when you were 19. I literally couldn't breathe for a minute. The room started spinning. You what? Ethan? Listen, Rachel. You what? I have watched you struggle for 2 years with this thing. Every time you get stressed or quiet or need space, I know it is connected to what happened. This thing is poisoning you, and your parents deserve to know what has been eating you alive. I thought if they understood the full picture, they could help support you better help. I was shouting now, and I never shout. Rachel, that wasn't your fucking story to tell. But you are hurting, and you are too stubborn to get out, Ethan, please. Just let me explain. Get out of my apartment right now. She tried to explain more, something about love and concern and making hard choices. But I couldn't hear anything over the sound of my trust shattering into a million pieces. 2 years of feeling safe. 2 years of having someone who truly knew me. 2 years of the most intimate secret of my life being protected. Gone. Just like that. The next family dinner was absolute hell. I almost didn't go, but canceling would have made it obvious something was wrong. So I showed up and pretended everything was normal while my parents gave me these looks. These careful, worried, walking on eggshells looks. Dad asked if I was okay 3 times. During dinner, Mom kept finding excuses to touch my shoulder or give me hugs. They knew. The thing I have protected them from knowing for 5 years, Rachel just handed it to them. Like it was nothing. When I confronted Rachel again, she said, I love you too much to watch you suffer alone. Sometimes, love means making hard choices, even when the other person will not thank you for it. But here is what I am realizing. Love without respect isn't love at all, is it? I broke up with her yesterday. 3 years together. Gone. She has been texting non-stop saying I am overreacting. That she was trying to help, that she cannot believe I had thrown away what we have over her caring too much. Reddit, am I crazy? Can a relationship survive a betrayal this massive? Or is trust like glass once it is shattered? It never looks the same again. Update 1: things have gotten so much worse since then. Rachel has been persistent. And I mean persistent in ways that are genuinely scaring me now. It started with dozens of texts every day. Long paragraphs about how she loves me, cannot sleep, made a mistake, but it came from the right place. Then she started showing up places. Last Tuesday, leaving work at 6 p.m., there she is, sitting on her car in the parking lot, just waiting. Ethan, please. We need to talk. No, we don't. I kept walking. I have been thinking about what you said, and I understand why you are upset, Rachel. Stop. It is over. But it doesn't have to be. We can work through this. She looked terrible. Dark circles. Lost weight. Messy hair. For a second, I felt that old protective instinct. This was the girl I had planned to marry. But then she said, I called your mom yesterday. My blood went cold. You what? I explained my side. I thought if she understood I was just trying to help, maybe she could talk to you. I got in my car and drove away. When I got home, 17 missed calls from Mom. The conversation with my parents was awful. Mom trying to play peacemaker, talking about how Rachel seems torn up and people make mistakes when they are trying to help. I couldn't explain without getting into details I wasn't ready to share. The real wake-up call came Friday. I am meeting my buddy Mike for drinks. And guess who is at our table, Rachel? Mike looked uncomfortable. She said you guys had plans, he whispered. She launched into this speech about therapy, about wanting to make things right, about how her therapist said we should have one session to clear the air. That is when I noticed she was recording the conversation on her phone. Are you seriously recording me right now? She looked embarrassed. I just wanted to remember what you said. I grabbed the phone and ended it. This is insane behavior, Rachel. She started sobbing right there in the bar. People staring. I just love you so much, and I don't understand why we cannot fix this. I made one mistake. One mistake. You betrayed my deepest secret, called my parents. You are showing up at my work, involving my friends, recording conversations. This isn't one mistake, it is a pattern. The next day she was at my gym. My fucking gym, a place she had never worked out before. Then my brother called. What the hell is going on? Rachel sent me this long Facebook message saying she is worried about you, thinks you are having some kind of breakdown. She is reaching out to everyone, Mom, Dad, even your high school friends. She was systematically contacting everyone in my life, painting me as unstable, positioning herself as the concerned ex, just trying to help. But here is what is messing with my head. Part of me is wondering if she is right. Am I overreacting? She keeps saying everything came from love, that she was scared for me. When I am alone at night, I start second-guessing myself. We had something good for 3 years. Maybe I am throwing away the best relationship I will ever have over one mistake. But then I remember how violated I felt. How she made a decision about my trauma without consulting me. And now she is doing it again, making decisions about our relationship, my mental health, who gets to know our business. I am seeing a therapist Thursday. Maybe that will help me think clearly. Right now, I am just exhausted. Update 2, we finally had that conversation she had been pushing for, but not how she imagined. The care package. It was filled with my favorite things: candy, a playlist, handwritten letters about every good memory we had shared, a leather journal engraved for your thoughts. Simultaneously, the most thoughtful and most manipulative thing anyone had done to me. The letters killed me, page after page recounting specific moments, times she took care of me, parties she threw, nights we talked about our wedding, every inside joke, every reason we had fallen in love. I cried reading them for 2 hours, because they weren't lies. Those moments had happened. I had loved her completely, but the last letter floored me. I know you think I betrayed you, but everything came from love. I have been researching trauma responses, and I think you might be experiencing emotional dysregulation. I found a therapist who specializes in couples affected by PTSD. I made us an appointment for Thursday at 3 p.m. She had diagnosed me, made me a therapy appointment without asking. Again, that is when it clicked completely. This wasn't about the secret, that was just the symptom. Rachel genuinely didn't see me as capable of managing my own life. She loved me, but she didn't respect me. I called the therapist's office to cancel. The receptionist was horrified. She said she was booking for her partner. We never would have scheduled without both parties' consent if we had known. That evening Rachel showed up again. This time talking to my neighbor Mrs. Chen in the lobby for an hour, crying about how worried she was, how I was isolating myself. Finally, I snapped. Rachel, we need to talk. Now, up in my apartment, I told her calmly. I need you to stop. Stop contacting my family. Stop showing up places. Stop making appointments for me. Just stop. But I am worried. I am fine. I am in therapy, my own therapist. I am not broken, Rachel. You keep treating me like I am. I just love you so much, and I can see you are struggling. I am not struggling. I was struggling when we were together because you made me feel like I couldn't trust my own judgment. Then she said something that floored me. But what if you don't? What if the trauma has affected your judgment and you cannot see I am trying to help? There it was. I was too damaged to make rational decisions. She knew better. Do you hear yourself? You just said my trauma damaged my ability to make decisions. We talked for 3 hours. She kept circling back to the idea that if I had just try therapy with her, try to see her perspective, we could fix this. But we wanted fundamentally different things from love. She wanted to be needed. I wanted to be respected. She wanted to heal me. I wanted to be accepted as whole. She wanted to guide me. I wanted to be trusted to guide myself. The last thing she said, I hope someday you find someone who understands you better than I did. But she understood me perfectly. She just didn't respect what she understood. That was 2 months ago. She has stopped contacting me. I heard she is dating someone new, apparently helping him work through anxiety and depression. I feel sorry for him. My parents and I had an honest conversation. They apologized and are respecting boundaries better. I am thriving in therapy, learning about healthy relationships, and I have started dating someone named Maya. But that is another story. Sometimes the person you love most isn't the person who is best for you. Final update. It has been a full year since my world fell apart, and I wanted to give you all one final update because this community genuinely helped save my life. I am sitting in the apartment I share with Maya. Yeah, we moved in together 6 months ago, and I can barely recognize the broken, confused person who wrote that first post. That guy feels like a stranger to me now. So much has happened. I don't even know where to start. First, the big news. Maya and I are engaged. I proposed last month during a weekend trip to the same mountains where Rachel and I used to go hiking. I know that might sound weird, but I needed to reclaim that place with new, healthier memories. Maya said yes through happy tears. And it was perfect. No drama, no manipulation, no hidden agendas. Just two people who love and respect each other deciding to build a life together. The difference between loving Maya and loving Rachel is like the difference between breathing fresh air and holding your breath underwater. With Rachel, I was constantly tense, constantly wondering if I was making the right choices, constantly feeling like I had to justify my decisions. With Maya, I just exist. Peacefully, she sees me as capable, trustworthy, whole. Last week, I had a panic attack in front of Maya, first time it had happened in months. Just work stress, triggering old patterns. You know what she did? She asked what I needed. When I said I wanted to sit quietly for a few minutes, she made me some tea and sat nearby reading a book, just being present without trying to fix me. When I was ready to talk, she listened. When I shared more details about my past, she said thank you for trusting me with that, not we should tell someone, or have you considered. She sees my healing as my journey. She is honored to walk beside me, not ahead of me making decisions about where we are going. That is what healthy love looks like. I had no idea. But the really big update is about Rachel, because last month, she reached out. Not to me, she has respected the no-contact boundary, which I genuinely appreciate, but she messaged my brother Jake on Facebook, asking if she could get my email address because she wanted to send me something important. Jake called me first. Good man, Jake. She says she is not trying to get back together or anything. She seems different. More. I don't know, mature. She said she has been in therapy for almost a year and there are things she needs to say to you. But obviously, I am not giving her your info unless you want me to. I talked to Maya about it. I talked to my therapist about it. And ultimately, I decided I was curious enough and healed enough to hear what she had to say. So I had Jake give her my email. What she wrote. Jesus. Read it. I cried, reading it. Not sad tears, but tears of relief, of validation, of closure I didn't even know I needed. She took full responsibility. No excuses. No, but I was trying to help. No, you have to understand my perspective. Just complete ownership of how badly she had handled everything. She acknowledged that sharing my secret was a massive violation of trust, and that her behavior after our breakup was stalking and harassment, plain and simple. She said therapy had helped her understand that she had a pattern of getting into relationships with people she perceived as needing her help, and then becoming controlling when they didn't want her version of help. I think I was addicted to being needed, she wrote. I confused feeling necessary with feeling loved. I convinced myself that caring meant controlling, that love meant knowing better than the other person what they needed. I was so wrong. She apologized to everyone, my parents, my brother, my friends. She had contacted, even my neighbor Mrs. Chen. She had written letters to all of them taking responsibility and asking them not to respond, just to read and understand that her behavior was her responsibility, not mine. But the part that really got me was this. I need you to know that you were right about everything. You weren't overreacting, you weren't being stubborn, you weren't too damaged to make good decisions. You were setting healthy boundaries. And I trampled all over them because I thought I knew better. I am so sorry for making you doubt yourself. You deserved so much better. She told me about the therapy she had been doing, how she had had to confront some really ugly truths about herself, how she had ended her next relationship when she realized she was falling into the same patterns with that poor guy Jake had mentioned. I am learning to love people without trying to fix them, she wrote. I am learning that respect is more important than being right. I am learning that healthy people don't need me to manage their lives for them. And that is okay. More than okay, it is what I should want for someone I love. She ended the letter by saying she was happy I had found someone who could love me the way I deserved to be loved, and that she hoped someday she could find someone who would challenge her to be better instead of someone she could try to fix. I wrote back just a short note thanking her for the apology and acknowledging how much growth and courage it must have taken to write that letter. I told her I forgave her, and I meant it. Not because what she did was okay, but because holding on to anger was just hurting me at that point. She wrote back one last time. Just, thank you, be happy, Ethan. You deserve all the good things. And that was it. Clean, respectful closure. No drama, no attempts to reopen anything. Just two adults acknowledging the past and moving forward separately. Maya read the whole email exchange with my permission and said something that stuck with me. It takes real maturity to apologize without trying to get something in return. She is finally respecting your boundaries, even in how she is apologizing. My therapist says this kind of acknowledgement from someone who hurt us can be incredibly healing, even when we have already moved on. She was right. Something settled in my chest that I didn't even realize had been unsettled. So where am I now? God. I am so happy. Like, genuinely, peacefully happy in a way I never was with Rachel, even during our best times. Maya and I are planning a small wedding for next fall. My relationship with my parents is the healthiest it has ever been. They have learned to respect my boundaries, and I have learned to trust them with appropriate levels of vulnerability. I got promoted at work. I am sleeping like a baby. I started rock climbing, which terrifies and thrills me in equal measure. I am in the best physical and mental health of my life. I have a partner who sees me as an equal, not a project. I have a family that supports me without trying to manage me. I have friends who respect my privacy and autonomy. I lost the girl I thought I would spend my life with. But what I really lost was an illusion, the illusion that love means someone else gets to decide what is best for you. The illusion that caring justifies violating boundaries. The illusion that being understood means giving up your right to privacy and autonomy. I am free now, free to love and be loved authentically, free to make my own decisions and trust my own judgment. Free to be whole, not someone's rehabilitation project. For anyone reading this, who is dealing with a partner who loves you too much to respect your boundaries, that is not love. That is control wrapped in good intentions. You deserve better. You deserve someone who sees your strength, not just your struggles. Someone who trusts you to know yourself. Someone who wants to walk beside you, not lead you where they think you should go. Don't settle for someone who loves their version of you more than they love the real you. I am signing off from this story now, but I am not signing off from life. I am just getting started. Thanks for everything, Reddit. You helped me find my way back to myself.